The massive repair station hung in Earth's orbit like a shining metal spider web, its extending docks and repair arms reaching out to welcome ships from across the galaxy. Through one of its many observation windows, Chief Engineer Tom Walker watched as yet another alien vessel approached, its hull bearing the scars of what looked like a nasty encounter with a micro-meteor storm. "Another one for Doc 7, he said to no one in particular, taking a sip from his coffee mug. The bitter liquid had gone cold hours ago, but he barely noticed. His attention was fixed on the approaching ship's unusual damage pattern. The Galactic Repair Guild had always claimed they were the best in the business. Their stations, spread across thousands of star systems, operated with perfect efficiency, using standardized procedures and automated systems. They had laughed when humans first joined the galactic community and offered their repair services. After all, what could these newcomers possibly teach a civilization that had been fixing starships for over 10,000 years? But there was something the Guild didn't understand about humans, something they couldn't quantify in their perfect procedures and automated systems. The alien ship, now clearly visible through the window, was a Regellian merchant vessel. Its green-tinted hull plates were standard issue, but the modifications visible across its surface were anything but standard. Tom could see at least 3 different technology types grafted onto the original design. That was exactly the kind of challenge that made human repair stations special. "Chief Walker," a voice called from behind him. "The Regellian captain is requesting emergency docking clearance. Says their life support is failing." Tom turned to face Bill, one of his junior engineers. The young man's face showed excitement rather than concern. These were the moments they lived for. "Tell them they're cleared for Dock 7, Tom replied, already moving toward the service elevator. "Get Team C ready with the portable atmosphere generators. And Bill, bring the good toolbox." As the elevator carried him down to the dock level, Tom remembered his first days working on the station. Back then, alien ships would only stop at Earth as a last resort, when every other repair option had failed. The Guild stations had turned them away, declaring their problems unfixable or beyond standard repair protocols. The elevator doors opened to organized chaos. Team C was already moving equipment into position, setting up their gear with the smooth efficiency that came from years of practice. The Regellian ship was just settling into its berth, emergency lights flashing along its hull. "Chief," called Mary from the diagnostic station, "getting some weird readings here. Their life support isn't just failing. It's been jerry-rigged with parts from at least 3 different systems. None of them should be compatible with each other." Tom grinned. "But they made it work, didn't they? At least until now." That was the thing about space travel. Sometimes you had to work with what you had, not what you were supposed to have. Humans understood that better than any other species in the galaxy. While the Guild insisted on using only approved parts and procedures, humans had spent centuries learning to fix things with whatever they could find. The airlock cycled, and the Regellian crew stumbled out, their breathing masks firmly in place. Their captain, a tall figure with iridescent scales, approached Tom directly. The Guild said it couldn't be fixed. The captain said, their translator making the words sound flat and mechanical, said mixing technology like this was against protocol. But we had no choice out in the deep sectors. Tom was already looking past the captain, his experienced eyes taking in the jury-rigged systems visible through the open airlock. "No choice but to survive," he said. "Don't worry, Captain. This isn't the first mixed system we've seen, and it won't be the last. We'll have you breathing easy in no time." As his team moved past him into the ship, carrying their good toolbox, full of equally non-standard tools and parts, Tom felt a familiar sense of pride. The Guild might have their perfect procedures and their spotless automated systems, but they didn't have what humans had: the ability to look at a problem and see possibilities instead of protocols. The unexpected discovery wasn't just about aliens finding out that humans could fix their ships. It was about them discovering that sometimes the best solutions came from thinking outside the manufacturer's manual. The day that changed everything started like any other on Earth's orbital repair station 7. That was until the massive Centaurian freighter appeared at the edge of their sensor range, trailing clouds of plasma and debris that lit up space like a dying star. Tom Walker was just finishing his lunch when the emergency alerts started blaring. He rushed to the control room, half a sandwich still in his hand, to find the night shift crew already gathering around the main display screen. What in the world did they do to that ship? Bill whispered, his eyes wide as the sensor readings scrolled across the screen. The Centaurian freighter was one of the largest ships they'd ever seen, nearly 2 kilometers long, with massive cargo holds designed to transport entire city blocks worth of materials. But right now, it looked more like a wounded animal than a mighty space vessel. Their quantum drive is completely shot, Mary reported from her station, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. These readings, I've never seen anything like it. The containment field it is barely holding. Tom stepped closer to the screen, studying the damage pattern. A quantum drive failure was serious business. Even the Guild's best repair stations often refused to work on damaged quantum systems, claiming the risk was too high. One wrong move and the drive could collapse, taking half the solar system with it. "They're hailing us," Bill announced. Audio only. The voice that came through the speakers was filled with static and fear. "Earth Station, this is Captain Reed of the Centaurian freighter Star Whale. We have a critical drive failure. The Guild stations all refused us. They said it's too dangerous to attempt repairs." Tom grabbed the comm unit. "This is Chief Engineer Walker. Can you hold it together for another 20 minutes? That's how long it'll take to clear you for emergency docking." "We'll try," came the reply. "But our containment field is failing. We got less than 2 hours before total collapse." The control room went quiet. Everyone knew what a quantum drive collapse meant. It wasn't just the ship that would be destroyed. The resulting explosion would create a temporary artificial black hole that could swallow everything within 1,000,000 kilometers. "Get Dock 3 cleared," Tom ordered. "It's the only one big enough. And someone wake up Pete in quantum systems. Tell him to bring his lucky wrench." The next hour was organized chaos as they prepared for the most dangerous repair job they'd ever attempted. The Star Whale limped into dock, its massive bulk barely fitting through the station's magnetic containment field. The quantum drive's unstable energy signature made the station's lights flicker. As Tom led his team toward the docking tube, he could hear whispers from the Centaurian crew who watched them pass. They didn't look confident. After all, humans were known for fixing broken engines and patching hull breaches, not dealing with exotic quantum technology that could create black holes. "They're using physical tools," one alien crewman said in disbelief. "Not even neural interfaces or AI repair systems." Tom ignored them, focusing instead on the readings from its handheld scanner. The quantum drive chamber was a mess of twisted metal and crackling energy fields. The containment system was holding on by a thread, using emergency power from 3 backup generators. "Okay, listen up," Tom addressed his team as they stood before the sealed drive chamber. "We've got 90 minutes before total collapse. The Guild says this is impossible to fix. They say the only safe option is to eject the drive and run. But we're not the Guild." He pulled out his tablet, showing them the scan results. "Look here. The primary containment field isn't actually broken. It's just out of alignment. The Centaurians tried to fix it the right way, using standard protocols. But sometimes the right way isn't the only way." Pete grinned, holding up his lucky wrench. "What's the plan, Chief?" "We're going to manually realign the field generators. No computers, no automated systems. We'll do it by eye and feel, just like we did with that old Russian satellite last year. The quantum field's frequency is actually pretty close to standard electromagnetic waves, just a lot more powerful." The team looked at each other, then back at Tom. They all knew this was crazy. It was probably suicide. But that had never stopped them before. "Time to show the galaxy why they come to us first," Tom said, reaching for the chamber door controls. "Let's get to work." 3 days after the successful repair of the Centaurian freighter's quantum drive, Earth's orbital repair station 7 received more visitors than usual. Not ships in need of repair, but observers. Representatives from various alien species stood at the observation deck, pressing their faces against the reinforced glass, trying to understand how a group of primitive humans had achieved the impossible. "I still don't believe it," muttered a blue-skinned diplomat from the Galactic Repair Guild. He was watching Tom's team work on a routine hull repair, his 4 eyes blinking in confusion. "The quantum drive readings from the Star Whale are impossible. No one can manually realign a quantum field." Tom, passing by with his toolbox, couldn't help but smile. "Would you like to see the drive yourself? Captain Reed was so happy with our work, he gave us permission to show it to other engineers." The guild representative's antenna twitched with interest. Despite his skepticism, he couldn't pass up the chance to inspect the evidence himself. Tom led him to Dock 3, where the massive Centaurian freighter was still parked, its crew happily paying for extra days just to let their ship be examined. News of the repair had spread through subspace communications faster than a quantum particle. The story grew with each retelling. Some said the humans had danced with death itself. Others claimed they had bent the laws of physics. The truth, as usual, was somewhere in between. "Look at these readings," Tom said, showing the guild representative his tablet. "The quantum field is actually more stable now than when it was new. We didn't just fix it, we improved it." More ships began appearing at the edge of Earth's solar system. First came the curious ones, captains who wanted to see the famous repair station for themselves. Then came the desperate ones, ships with problems that other repair stations had declared hopeless. A Proximan cargo vessel arrived with a completely fused warp core. The captain had been told to scrap the ship. Tom's team had it running again in 2 days using parts from an old Earth submarine and some creative welding. An ancient mining barge limped in, its AI navigation system speaking in garbage code after a solar flare. The guild would have recommended a complete system replacement. Mary from the computer team fixed it with a makeshift neural interface she built from spare parts and an old gaming console. "How do you do it?" asked a frustrated guild engineer after watching humans repair a supposedly irreparable plasma conduit. "You don't follow any of the standard procedures. You don't use approved parts. You don't even use proper diagnostic tools half the time." Tom was teaching a group of junior engineers at the time, showing them how to listen to an engine's hum to identify problems. He paused, thinking about the question. "Maybe that's exactly why we can do it," he replied. "We never learned there were things we couldn't fix. On Earth, we spent centuries making do with what we had. If something broke, and we didn't have the right part, we made it work anyway. We had to." The repair requests kept coming. Ships would bypass dozens of guild stations, burning extra fuel just to reach Earth. The station's waiting list grew so long they had to expand, building additional docks and hiring more engineers. 1 month after the quantum drive incident, the station's communication system lit up with an urgent message. A military vessel from a distant empire needed emergency repairs. Their advanced stealth system had malfunctioned, leaving them stuck in a partial phase shift. The guild had already declared the problem unsolvable. The technology was too new, too experimental. There were no approved procedures for fixing phase shift drives. Tom looked at his team, saw the excitement in their eyes. This was why they loved their job. Every new problem was a puzzle waiting to be solved. Every impossible repair was a challenge to overcome. "Tell them to come on in," he said, reaching for his toolbox. "We'll figure it out. We always do." The message went out, traveling across the galaxy through subspace channels. "If you have a problem no one else can fix, go to Earth. The humans will find a way. They always do." In the endless dark between the stars, countless ships adjusted their course, pointing their noses toward a small blue planet where the impossible happened every day. 6 months after the quantum drive repair that made Earth famous, Tom Walker found himself teaching a rather unusual class. The repair station's largest meeting room was packed with alien engineers from across the galaxy, all eager to learn the secrets of human repair techniques. "First rule," Tom said, holding up an old wrench, "forget everything you know about standard procedures. A machine isn't just a collection of parts. It has a personality, a voice. You need to learn how to listen." The aliens looked at each other in confusion. A tall engineer with crystalline skin raised his hand. "But we have diagnostic computers for that. They can detect any malfunction with 99.9% accuracy." Tom smiled and picked up a damaged engine part from his desk. It was a standard fusion regulator, the kind used in most small spacecraft. "Anyone want to tell me what's wrong with this?" he asked. The alien engineers pulled out their scanners. Numbers and diagrams flashed across their screens as they analyzed the part. "The magnetic containment is failing," one said. "The power curve shows significant degradation," another added. "The efficiency rating is only 62%, a third chimed in. Tom shook his head and held the part up to his ear. He tapped it gently with his wrench, listening to the soft ring of metal on metal. "This regulator isn't failing," he said. "It's afraid." The room went silent. Even the translator devices seemed confused by his statement. "Look here," Tom continued, pointing to a small discoloration on the regulator's surface. "This part has been through a lot. See these stress marks? It's been pushed too hard, run too hot for too long. The containment isn't failing. It's protecting itself, running at lower power to prevent a burnout." He picked up his tools and began working on the regulator as he spoke. His movements weren't the precise, programmed actions of an automated repair system. They were gentle, almost caring. Humans learned long ago that machines have patterns, rhythms. When something goes wrong, they don't just break. They adapt. They find ways to keep running, even if it means running badly. Our job isn't to force them back to factory settings. It's to understand what they're trying to tell us. As he worked, he explained how different sounds meant different problems, how the vibration of a power core could tell you more than any scanner, how the smell of ozone or the temperature of a hull plate could point to problems that diagnostics might miss. "But this defies all standard engineering principles," protested one of the alien engineers. "You're treating machines like they're alive." "Aren't they, in a way?" Tom asked, his hands still working. "Every ship out there has a story. The places it's been, the storms it's weathered, the repairs it's endured. They all leave their mark. When we work on a ship, we're not just fixing metal and circuits. We're helping it keep telling its story." The regulator in his hands began to hum, its power curve steadily rising. Not to factory standard levels, but to a stable, sustainable output that worked with its aged components rather than against them. "Perfect isn't always better," Tom said, holding up the now functioning part. "Sometimes, good enough is exactly what you need. That's something humans learned the hard way, back when we were stuck on Earth with limited resources and broken machines that had to keep running." The alien engineers crowded around, scanning the regulator with their devices. The readings showed it operating at 82% efficiency. Not perfect, but far better than before, and completely stable. "This is why ships come to us," Tom continued, passing the regulator around the room. "Not because we have better tools or more advanced technology. They come because we understand something that the Guild forgot long ago. Repairs aren't just about following procedures. They're about listening, understanding, and sometimes finding new ways to solve old problems." As the class ended, the alien engineers left with more questions than answers. They had come expecting to learn advanced repair techniques or secret human technology. Instead, they had gotten a lesson in something far more fundamental, the art of understanding machines as more than just the sum of their parts. Tom watched them go, then turned back to his workbench. There was a ship coming in with engine trouble, and he could already hear it calling for help. Its vibrations told a story of hard travel and makeshift repairs, of a crew trying their best with what they had. It was time to help write the next chapter of that story. The Galactic Repair Guild's annual conference looked very different this year. Inside the massive meeting hall on their central station, thousands of guild officials and engineers sat in uncomfortable silence as they watched a video playing on the main screen. The video showed Earth's Repair Station 7, where 3 humans were fixing a damaged ship using nothing but basic tools and what looked like parts from a kitchen appliance. What made the guild members uncomfortable wasn't the unusual repair methods, it was the results. "As you can see," said the guild's chief inspector, a tall alien with metallic scales, "the humans have achieved a 95% success rate with repairs that we classified as impossible. They'd done this without using our approved methods, without our advanced diagnostic systems, and often without proper replacement parts." The crowd murmured. Some seemed angry, others worried. A few looked impressed. Back on Earth's station, Tom Walker was dealing with his own meeting. The station's waiting list had grown so long that ships were backing up all the way to Mars orbit. Some captains had been waiting for weeks just to get a repair slot. "We need to expand," Mary said, pointing to the holographic display showing the crowded space around Earth. "We're turning away too many ships." Tom nodded, looking at the latest numbers. In the past month alone, they had fixed 37 impossible problems, saved 12 ships that other stations had condemned, and improved the efficiency of countless others. The station's reputation was growing faster than they could handle. "The guild just sent another warning," Bill added, holding up his tablet. "They say we're breaking at least 15 different repair protocols. They're threatening to revoke our repair license." Tom couldn't help but laugh. Did they happen to mention how many ships bypassed their stations to come here this month? The answer was in their logs. Over 200 ships had deliberately avoided guild stations, burning extra fuel just to reach Earth. The revolution wasn't happening in meeting rooms or through official channels. It was happening one repair at a time, one grateful crew at a time. That afternoon, Tom walked through the repair bays, checking on various projects. In Bay 3, a team was fixing a damaged mining laser using parts from an old Earth satellite and some modified crystals from a garden greenhouse. In Bay 7, another group had successfully repaired an alien ship's navigation system using code from a 20-year-old video game console. "Chief," called one of the newer engineers, running up with an excited look on his face. "We just got a call from the Rigel system. They want us to teach at their engineering academy." More requests like this were coming in every day. Engineering schools across the galaxy were starting to realize that the guild's rigid approach wasn't the only way, maybe not even the best way. The real breakthrough came later that week. A guild repair station near Alpha Centauri sent an urgent, secret message. They had a ship with a critical problem, something their procedures couldn't fix. Instead of turning the ship away, they wanted to know if the humans would teach them their methods. "Send them everything," Tom told his team. "Our repair manuals, our training videos, even my old notebooks. It's time to share what we know." The guild's perfect procedures and automated systems were being replaced by something more flexible, more human. Ships were still being fixed, but now the repairs had character, personality. Each solution was unique, adapted to the specific problem and the available resources. Later that night, Tom stood at his favorite observation window, watching the endless stream of ships moving through Earth's repair lanes. Among them was a guild repair vessel, its crew probably nervous about learning the human way of doing things. "You know what the funny thing is?" he said to Mary, who had joined him at the window. "We never set out to start a revolution. We just fixed things the only way we knew how." "Sometimes the best revolutions are the quiet ones," she replied, watching as another ship settled into its repair dock. "The ones that happen because people see a better way of doing things." Down in the repair bays, human engineers worked alongside alien apprentices, teaching them to listen to the machines, to understand their stories, to fix them with whatever tools and parts they had available. The revolution wasn't about overthrowing the old system. It was about showing the galaxy a different way to solve problems. The Guild's perfect procedures were being replaced by human ingenuity, one repair at a time. A year after humans revolutionized galactic repair methods, a team of alien researchers arrived at Earth's orbital station 7. They weren't there to get repairs. They wanted to understand why humans were so good at fixing things. "We've studied your history," said the lead researcher, a tall being with shimmering scales, sitting across from Tom in the station's meeting room. "Your species spent centuries just trying to leave your own planet. You didn't have quantum drives or AI repair systems. So how did you become the best repair experts in the galaxy?" Tom smiled and stood up. "Let me show you something." He led the research team to the station's museum, a new addition that housed various old Earth machines and tools. The aliens walked past displays showing ancient steam engines, old car parts, and primitive computers. "See this." Tom picked up what looked like a badly damaged piece of metal. "This is part of a machine that helped humans first reach orbit. It broke during a critical test, and the replacement part was months away. The engineers had two choices: give up or find another way." The researchers leaned closer, their scanning devices humming. "They fixed it using parts from a kitchen stove and some creative welding," Tom continued. "The repair wasn't pretty, wasn't perfect, but it worked. And more importantly, it taught them something valuable. There's always a way if you're willing to think differently." One of the researchers raised a tentacle. "But surely this primitive approach isn't relevant to modern spacecraft repairs." Tom laughed and pulled up a holographic display showing the station's recent repair records. "Look at this repair from last week. We fixed a quantum stabilizer using modified parts from 3 different technologies. The approach is exactly the same as those early engineers used. Understand the problem, use what you have, and don't be afraid to try something new." The truth was, humans had developed their repair skills through centuries of necessity. When something broke on Earth, waiting for the perfect replacement part wasn't always an option. People had to fix things with whatever they had available. "Here's another example," Tom said, walking to a different display. "During Earth's first Mars mission, the life support system started failing. The nearest help was millions of kilometers away. The crew fixed it using spare parts and a water filter. The Guild would say that's impossible. Their manuals don't allow for that kind of improvisation." The researchers were taking notes frantically now. One of them spoke up. "But how do you know when these unconventional repairs will work?" "We don't. Not always," Tom admitted. "But we've learned to understand machines at a deep level. When you can't rely on automatic diagnostic systems or perfect replacement parts, you learn to really listen to what the machine is telling you." He pulled out his tablet, showing them repair logs from Earth's history. There were thousands of examples. Farmers fixing tractors with fence wire, sailors repairing boat engines with makeshift parts, astronauts solving problems with duct tape and creativity. "Each generation of humans learned from the last," Tom explained. "We passed down not just repair techniques, but a way of thinking. Every broken machine was a puzzle to solve, every repair a lesson to learn." The researchers looked at each other, their expressions showing understanding beginning to dawn. "So the secret isn't some special knowledge or advanced technology," one said slowly. "It's experience. Generations of having to make do with whatever was available." Tom nodded. "Exactly. When the Guild's repair stations turn away a ship because they don't have the exact replacement part, we see it as a challenge. There's always another way to solve the problem. You just have to be willing to look for it." As the research team prepared to leave, they had one final question. "Will you teach others this approach?" "We already are," Tom replied, gesturing to a group of alien apprentices working with human engineers in a nearby repair bay. "But we're not teaching them specific techniques or procedures. We're teaching them how to think differently about repairs, how to see possibilities instead of limitations." The secret of human repair expertise wasn't in their tools or their technology. It was in their history, centuries of making do, fixing things, and passing those lessons down to the next generation. What the galaxy saw as remarkable, humans saw as just another day at work. After all, necessity had always been humanity's greatest teacher. 5 years after the quantum drive repair that changed everything, Earth's orbital station 7 had become something its founders never imagined. The once simple repair dock had grown into a sprawling complex of interconnected stations, repair bays, and training facilities. Tom Walker stood at his old favorite observation window, now part of the station's central hub, watching the steady stream of ships moving through the repair lanes. But these days, he wasn't just watching repairs. He was watching history being made. Chief called Bill, hurrying up with a tablet in his hand. "You're going to want to see this." The tablet showed a news feed from across the galaxy. One by one, the Guild's repair stations were changing their methods. Some were now run by humans, others by aliens who had learned the human way. But all of them had the same approach: fix what you can, with what you have, and never give up on a ship that still has life in it. Remember when they said our methods would never catch on? Tom smiled, handing the tablet back. The station's main repair bay was busy as usual. But now, alongside the human engineers, aliens of all species worked together, sharing knowledge and techniques. A young Rigelian engineer was teaching others how to diagnose engine problems by touch. A former guild inspector was showing new apprentices how to repurpose common parts for uncommon repairs. 5 years, Mary said, joining them at the window. 5 years since we fixed that quantum drive and showed the galaxy another way. The numbers told the story. In the past year alone, repair stations using human methods had saved over 10,000 ships that would have been scrapped under the old guild rules. Efficiency rates were up, costs were down, and most importantly, ships were getting better repairs that lasted longer. "Got something special coming in today," Bill said, pointing to a large ship approaching the station. "That's the Star Whale, the same Centaurian freighter from 5 years ago. The one with the quantum drive problem that started it all." Tom watched as the massive ship moved gracefully into its dock. Its quantum drive was still running perfectly, better than new, thanks to the repairs they'd made that day. But the ship wasn't here for repairs this time. "They're here for the celebration," Mary explained. "Along with about 50 other ships we fixed over the years. The captain said they wouldn't miss it for anything." The celebration she mentioned was more than just a party. It was the official opening of the Galactic Repair Academy, a new institution dedicated to teaching the human approach to repairs across the galaxy. The old guild was gone, replaced by a new organization that combined the best of alien technology with human ingenuity. Later that day, Tom stood on a podium facing a crowd of humans and aliens alike. Behind him, the Academy's new building gleamed in the starlight, its repair bays already full of ships and eager students. 5 years ago, he began, we fixed a quantum drive that everyone said was impossible to repair. But that wasn't the real breakthrough. The real breakthrough was showing the galaxy that there's always another way, always another solution, if you're willing to look for it. He gestured to the ships docked around the station. "Every one of these vessels has a story. They came to us broken, damaged, given up for lost. They left not just repaired, but better, because we didn't just fix their problems. We understood them. We listened to them. We helped them tell their stories." The crowd cheered, a mix of human and alien voices rising together. Among them were captains whose ships had been saved, engineers who had learned new ways of thinking, and students eager to carry this legacy forward. "This academy isn't just about teaching repair techniques," Tom continued. "It's about teaching a way of thinking, a way of seeing problems not as obstacles, but as challenges to overcome. That's humanity's real gift to the galaxy. Not our tools or our methods, but our refusal to accept that anything is truly impossible to fix." As he finished speaking, a new ship appeared at the edge of the station's sensor range. It was trailing plasma, its engines struggling. Just another day, another ship in need of help, another problem to solve. And that was exactly how they liked it.